got some really interesting stamps today. Let's start with this one here. Okay, so this little beauty here, where are we? There we go in focus, is actually, it's a South African stamp, and it is a war effort stamp, and it's part of the series that date from 1942. Now, in terms of value, it's actually not worth a lot of value. It's only worth a few cents, to be honest. But these stamps were printed from 1942 onwards, all in the values of war effort stamps, and they were, went right up the range. So what happened is that the reason this one is so small, and I'll show you how small it is. If I hold that there, I'll actually get another stamp of just, that's your basic sized stamp. So if you see, it's about almost like covers up about a half. That's half that size. Now, the reason they did that, is funny enough, is it was to actually save paper. So yeah, quite an interesting little reason for that. As I say, not worth a lot, but if you have the whole set, it's worth about US $10, and there's about like, I think it's 6 to 8 stamps within that set. So I thought I'd start off with that little stamp there because it's actually quite cool. I quite like that one. Okay. The next stamp here is this one here is a Nigerian stamp. If we just focus in on that, there we go. Stamp from Nigeria. That one is dated 1956. This is actually a mint stamp. So see, there's no cancellation on that one. And it was to commemorate the Queen's visit, the royal visit to Nigeria in 1956. I'll just pop that one down there beside the little fella, and it actually gives you an indication of how tiny that little South African stamp is. It's quite cute, really. Now, the next stamp is this one here, and that is a Ceylon stamp. Now, Ceylon is actually now known these days as Sri Lanka. And this is in the era of King George V. He was actually king of the United Kingdom from, when was it? From 1910 to his passing in 1936. If you look closely here, there's actually a picture of that woman, and she's actually tapping rubber. So that's actually a rubber tree. And Sri Lanka is actually renowned for its production of high quality natural rubber, and lots of rubber based products actually. Not a lot of value in this stamp. It's worth around, in this sort of condition, about 50 cents US. Alright, I'll just pop them down there. My next stamp is from the Pacific, and it is actually a Fijian stamp. Okay, so this this actual stamp here, I think that issued, I'm trying to think when that issued, I think it was like, I haven't got the date on that one actually, in the 50s. And it depicts, the name of the stamp, it depicts loading copra. And so I had to actually look up, I was thinking, what was copra? So I actually looked it up. And copra is actually, it's actually a derivative of, it comes from coconuts. So, and it's used as a food, and it's an important source of nutrients, including proteins and vitamins and minerals. And so, I think it's like the husk and the sort of stuff. And if you hot press copra, it yields a low melting oil, and it has a melting point of 23 degrees Celsius. And so this oil can be used in cooking and as a raw material for preparing hair oil, shampoos, detergents, margarine and that sort of stuff. So even though the stamps are, it's not a rare stamp or of any value, but a little interesting story about the loading the copra on the ship there and what copra actually is. So I'll just pop that one down there. Good. Now, my next stamp, as remember yesterday I had a, was it the George Washington stamp? Well, today we've got this fella here, which is actually a Benjamin Franklin stamp. Now, this is actually quite a common stamp, but it's one of the starkest examples of catalog value difference in a common US stamp. Because there's actually a lot of 1 cent Benjamin Franklin stamps issued, and this was like beginning in about 1923. And a lot of people have these stamps, but some of them vary, and most of them are quite common, to be honest, but some of them sell for prices in the low six figures. So, you know, like if you just happen to have one of the valuable ones, you could be quids in. Now, I did a bit of research, and to know if yours is valuable or not, it's actually quite a tricky process. If you notice along here, I was thinking, oh, maybe I've got one because had the perforations along here and the flat tops, top and bottom. But no, that was quite common. The one you need to look out for is it's perforated all the way around, but actually the center circle within that stamp is actually a few, on the rarer stamps, a few millimeters smaller, and you can't really tell unless you sort of know what you're looking for. But if you want to check through, do a bit of a Google search on the Benjamin Franklin 1 cent stamp, and you'll find different methods and some quite interesting stories about the value of the stamp and what it entails looking for to see if yours is one of the valuable ones. But most likely it's probably just a common stamp that everybody else has. But I'll pop old Mr. Benjamin Franklin down there. Right. My next stamp is, I quite like this. Is quite a pretty stamp. This is another one of my mint stamps. Oh, come on, copper. There we go. So this one is a Rwandan stamp. So obviously Rwanda, for those who know, is country in Africa. And this is a 10 cent stamp. And this was 1963. This was a 1963 stamp. And it was issued because it was the first anniversary of independence. Okay. If you have a look on here, what that little sort of bit of foliage is there, and if you can see just down the bottom, just beside the 10 cents there, is actually some coffee beans. So that is actually a coffee plant on that stamp there. We'll just pop him there. Cool. The next stamp, this one here, is an Irish stamp. Okay, so this one is 1948. It's a commemorative stamp. Basically, it is commemorating the 1798 rebellion, which was an insurrection launched by the United Irishmen, and this was an underground Republican society, and their aim, they were aiming to overthrow the Kingdom of Ireland, and they wanted to sever the connection with Great Britain and establish an Irish Republic. And basically they based their principles on the French Revolution. So once again, I'm finding all these stamps have quite interesting stories that go along with them. Okay, and I'll just pop that one down about there. Now, that leaves me to my last stamp of the day, which is this one. As you can see, this is my thumbnail stamp. Now, this is obviously, not obvious, well yes it is obviously because it's written on the top. So this is an Australian stamp. And what it is it's a pre-decimal stamp. It was issued, they were issued from 1952 to 1967. And it's actually got a nickname. It's called the £1 Jimmy stamp. And that is after the gentleman on the front, who is, I don't know if you know much about Australia, but he's an Aboriginal man who are indigenous to Australia. Now, I sort of got a little bit excited researching this stamp because there are different varieties. But what happened a few years ago is someone actually discovered that if you have an inverted watermark and in mint condition, this stamp is worth an absolute bomb. It goes into the thousands. So what it is like a crown watermark on the back. But if some of the series was bought out and the watermark was actually inverted, which made this stamp, like, I think they've only found two, don't quote me on this, but I think there was two mint condition ones have only ever been found. So there will be some out there. You need to check. So if you know how to check watermarks, find your £1 Jimmies, get your watermark checks and see if you've got an inverted one. And if you have, you've got yourself a little gem of a fortune there. So that is the reason that I'm going to say that the £1 Jimmy is my stamp of the day. And I'll just put him there. Well done, Jimmy. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it today, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.